All right, good evening, everyone. This is the March 10th, 2021 meeting of the Auburn Conservation Commission. My name is Michael Garland. I'm chairman. Permit me to confirm that all members and persons anticipated on the agenda are present and can hear me. So members, when I call your name, please respond in the affirmative. Tom Fallon.
Present.
Michelle Colross. Patrick Cunningham.
Here.
Nathan Rand.
Present.
Hello, Nathan. And Tony Romiu.
Present.
All right, so we have a quorum. And then we are actually holding this meeting in the planning board room. Also attending our meeting is our, what's your title, Ginger?
Land use clerk.
Our land use clerk, Ginger Butow. She's present this evening. So this meeting will now be called to order at shortly after 7 p.m. This meeting is being conducted remotely, consistent with Governor Executive Order of March 12, 2020, approximately a year ago, due to the ongoing state of emergency in the Commonwealth due to the outbreak of the COVID-19 virus. In order to mitigate the transmission of the virus, we've been advised and directed by the Commonwealth to suspend public gatherings, and as such, the governor's order suspends the requirement of the open meeting law to have all meetings in a publicly accessible physical location. Furthermore, all members of public bodies are allowed and encouraged to participate remotely. This order, which you can find posted with agenda materials for this meeting on the town's website, allows public bodies to meet entirely remotely as long as reasonable public access is afforded so that the public can follow along with the deliberations of the meeting. For this meeting, the Conservation Commission is convening by remote participation for the public only, although some staff may be physically located in the planning board meeting room in Town Hall. Excuse me. Those town employees are practicing social distancing in accordance with the governor's orders. For the public to join the meeting remotely by telephone, you can call 4-108-650-3123 and enter access code 942-845-549. Or the public can join via computer at gotomeeting.com/join/942-845-549. The remote, the remote access information has been posted on the town's website identifying how the public. And this meeting is being recorded by Auburn Cable Television. So accordingly, for those members of the commission, employees, and members of the public who participate, please be aware that other folks may be able to see you, and please take care not to screen share your computer. Anything that you broadcast may be captured by the recording. All supporting materials for tonight's meeting are available on the town's website, and the public is encouraged to follow along using the posted agenda. All right, we are now going to turn to the first item on the agenda, but before I do so, let me cover some ground rules for effective and clear conduct of our business and to ensure accurate meeting minutes. So I, as chairman, will introduce each speaker on the agenda. After they conclude their remarks, I will go down the line of members, inviting each by name to provide any comment, questions, or motions, and please hold until your name is called. Please remember to speak clearly and in a way that helps generate accurate minutes. For any response, please wait until I, as chair, yield the floor to you and state your name before speaking. And if members wish to engage in discussion with other members, please do so through me, taking care to identify yourself. After members have spoken, the chair will afford public comment as follows. I will first ask members of the public who wish to speak to identify themselves by their names and addresses only. And once I have a list of all public commentators, I will call on each by name and afford 3 minutes for any comments. And then finally, if we take any votes this evening, they will be conducted by a roll call vote. So having said that, I'm going to take so I can clear my throat. I also want to note that joining us for this meeting is Building Commissioner Caleb Mooney. The first item on tonight's agenda is a 7 p.m. public hearing Alliance Environmental Group. It's a request to amend an existing order of conditions for periodic on-site vehicle washing activities at 33 Sword Street. Is there a motion to open?
So moved. Tom?
Thank you, Tom. Is there a second?
I'll second this, Nathan.
Thank you, Nathan. Is there any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All right, it's a vote. Is there someone here on behalf of Alliance to present this request?
I emailed you, they called and said they forgot to send out the abutters. They asked to be continued to the next hearing.
Okay. When'd you send the notice?
4 days ago.
Okay. Well, shame on me. That's how I get a lot of emails.
That's okay.
Okay, so that will be continued then until March 24th?
Yep,
Okay. Through 7 p.m.?
yep.
All right.
7 p.m., okay.
All right. Well, that's easy. I like the way you spaced out the meetings too, because instead of waiting 15 minutes or 10 minutes, we can wait. Actually, we don't have to wait. The next item on our agenda is EBT Environmental Consultants, a notice of intent to construct a driveway across a road drainage ditch and construct a single-family home with utilities at 255 Prospect Street. Is there a motion open?
So moved.
And that was Tom. Is there a second?
I'll second Nathan.
Okay, thank you, Nathan. Is there any discussion?
I'd like to make a motion that we take all 4 of these into consideration at the same time, since they're all abutting lots and they were spaced a minute apart.
I think that's fine.
Okay.
So, all right, before we actually take the 250, there's a motion asserted by Tom to basically consider all 4 applications which granted are in the same area. And by the applicant, is there a second?
Yeah, I'll second this, Nathan.
All right, Nathan. Is there any discussion? There being none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Okay, it's a vote. All right, Mr. Grabowski, are you there, sir?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Garland.
Good evening.
Can you hear me?
Good morning.
Good afternoon. Good evening.
Good evening. Okay, in any event, so
Yes.
why don't you, you might as well just go over them one at a time if you don't mind.
My pleasure. Thank you, sir. On your agenda, I do have it here somewhere. Which one started first? Let me see. Find my agenda.
255.
Lot
First lot.
Lot 4.
It's
I
lot,
apologize. Lot 1, 2, 3, and 4 we have here.
right.
255. I see. Thank you very much. These are all very similar. We walked the property a few months ago. Did file an ANRAD with the commission. Did have an agreement on the wetland line here, and Oxford had an agreement on the wetland line on the portion of this overall parcel in Oxford.
Yes.
The frontage lots, I believe we briefly stated what we were going to do during our site inspection on the reviewing the wetland line. And here's some of the culmination of that work. 4 20,000 square foot lots accessing sewer and water, this town or city sewer and water. We did consider the wetland drainage ditch, even though it doesn't arise from a wetland system, the storm drain system or the catch basin system upgraded, it is sufficient deep enough to access groundwater. And so this storm drain system does discharge long enough, and also the drainage ditch that the town had dug more recently not, it does get into, because it's approximately 2 to 3 feet deep, did access at the road hydric soil. So we looked at the vegetation and the soils, and because there is a clause on the limited project category that talks about routine maintenance of road drainage structures such as drainage swales, inferring that they can be wetlands. I flagged one side of the wetland, the southern side, as delineated that, and then Ecotech, because they owned it at the time, Miss Pope, the only delineation they did on the whole site was the side of the drainage ditch directly abutting the road. So for that reason, and because I've been working with this clause many years, the 1053 clause on routine maintenance of road drainage structures, I classified it as a wetland, and such we delineated it, and now we're crossing it. There are minimal fills on each one of these crossings. Yeah. I have a table in the upper left corner of the plan that describes on lot 1, 2, 3, and 4, generally, if we're discussing 1 would be 64 square feet of fill, 98 would be number 2, and 3 would be 107, and 4 would be 90, for a total of 359 square feet of wetland fill. We did consider the channel itself as land under water body, which is what they would be called, just as if it was an intermittent stream. And we also have calculations for the land under water body per lot in the upper left again. And then there is also bank alteration. We will say that we did not get a file number on this yet, and I am going to submit, even though it might sound interesting to submit a wildlife habitat evaluation on a man-made channel that was recently, or not that long ago, dug. We're going to submit it because legally or technically, bank. We have reviewed the entire bank on the overall parcel. This site presently is not recorded. These lots are ready to be recorded as A&R lots. I wanted the parcel at this point to stay all in one big piece because we do have the whole parcel in total. The normal stream, the regular stream, the natural stream that runs from, from south to north towards the road, it does have the qualifications for bank, and as far as undercuts, stumps, logs that fell across it, and that's part of the wildlife habitat evaluation. That would go into the paperwork. We will submit it within a couple of days. We'll also submit it to DEP if that's the reason why they're holding up the file number sheet. I'm not quite sure, but we're going to put it in, and it'll just show that under the reg, there is not habitat value for a drainage ditch that starts on the upper part of this parcel, which would be called east, and travels along the roadway, as there is no undercut banks, permanent groundwater discharge, logs in the channel. What we do find is some sand that comes in from road drainage, and we'll make some recommendations to the project proponent to take the sand out while we're working on putting the crossings in if we are fortunate enough to get a permit from the commission. We have run tire scrubbers at the beginning of each driveway to ensure that we're not tracking material onto the roads. In general, the houses are 40 by 70. I did ask and have the engineers put Caltech units in for each house to infiltrate. Not required in the state law, taking the roof runoff and putting it in the ground, but we typically do put it in because we do understand most commissions want to see us put that roof back in the ground, and so we are going to install Caltech units to put the roof runoff back in the ground. The one change on looking at the 4 lots, and I'm just about wrapping up, is that one of the sewer tie-ins is directly to the, that would be the last lot on the down gradient side, and we do request across from where the shutoff is, which is on the property, to request to alter the wetland temporarily, tie that sewer shutoff into the house, then restore that land to the same elevation, and we also call for planting it with organic topsoil again, and not raise the land elevation any higher than it exists today and plant it. And that would be the standard for a limited project sewer line crossing, but we didn't file it under a limited project sewer line crossing. But even though the cutoff by the town is sitting on the property, we could easily just request that under 1055 4B clause 1 through 7, as the other wetland crossings are called out. We're not calling out any of these crossings as a limited project. Also, we're the 5,000 square feet of alteration. So and we've just done few of these both in Worcester, for the city of Worcester's 300 buses at Allegro, Sprague Electric, and in Charlton. DEP accepts that, and it'd be similar to the crossing that Diamond Chevrolet, which was a 1055 clause. May I cross to gain access? And again, it's only the drainage ditch that we're altering wetlands to get into the site, except for that one sewer line tie-in that's temporary and very small. The square footage of that sewer line tie-in is 154 square feet of alteration. I will say one last thing. I will oversee, the clients would like me to oversee the crossings. This is Walter Koza on the frontage lots, and Mr. Pike eventually will keep the back land to abut his existing land, and Mr. Koza is going to be doing these 4 lots. And that, as you can see also on the plan, that the back of the houses is outside the buffer zone on 3 of them, except for the very western one, and that is touching the 100-foot buffer zone, but is in the buffer zone. We also respect your 25-foot no disturbance zone on all the houses, except where we're coming in over, again, the drainage ditch. We have crossed through that, and we did request a waiver in our application to cross the storm drain discharge or the drainage ditch to get in, which I believe I also alluded to possibly at the original ANRAD site inspection as a way to get in, as most people would cross a sewer line, a drainage ditch to come into their property. I thank you for your time on that. I'm here to answer any questions and also hear from the commission and the chairman. Thank you.
So I do have one question. I'm looking at the proposed replication area. On which lot is that replication going to be provided?
As it says it's on the overall property. What did occur, and I think I did allude to this during the site inspection, the farmer originally, I believe farmer, filled in the wetland all the way to the western side of this frontage. And I would like a site inspection with the board to go show them this. Where I'm proposing replication, it is black locust, 3.5 feet of sand, of coarse sand fill on top of a buried A horizon, which means to you that the fill was so deep by the time you get all the way to the tip of this land or going in a western direction that it is growing upland vegetation. The black locust is back up. We did add that small delineation, and instead of going to the back of the land to alter an area of woodlands to get into the other wetlands that are to the rear, we did note this property to the west, and in fact that stone wall on the upper left of the plan, if you're looking at it, is the property line all the way to the west, and that is next to the area where this stream discharges out to go underneath Prospect and eventually flow. So I welcome a site inspection by the board to see this lower western piece, prove that it's non-hydric, prove that it's 2.5 to 3 feet above the elevation of the existing adjacent wetland, which wasn't filled. And what we're going to do is, we don't call this this is wetland replication, but it's in an area that had been filled in the past. So it's still a replication because it was filled prior to wetland regulations from the size of the trees that are in there. And also, we chose this location to minimize any tree cutting, period. So we can replant it at a 7-foot spacing. The detail is on the second sheet, and restore something that was filled historically back into a well.
Okay.
At 400 square feet.
No, I remember walking the property with you and other members of the commission, and it's quite a large parcel. So I don't think we have to.
Right.
I don't think we have to walk the entire parcel this time, but I would be interested in looking at the area you're proposing for replication as you've offered to do. So
Thank you, sir.
Would you be available this Saturday?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So shall we say 9 o'clock?
I have it. I'm writing it down.
Okay, perfect.
Yes, thank you.
And then,
Yeah,
and therefore you agree to continue the public hearing in this matter to March 24th?
yes, sir, I request a continuance, and I agree to a continuance. Thank you, sir.
All right, Glenn. So we'll plan to see you then at 9 o'clock this Saturday, and it should not be a very long walk. And we thank you for your presentation.
I thank you for your time, and I appreciate the site inspection coming up. Thank you again, and we'll see you then. Thank you.
All right,
Thanks,
thank
Glenn.
you. Okay.
Good evening. Bye.
Good evening.
Bye-bye. Thank you. Good night. Bye-bye. Thanks.
So we'll put them down for 7:10.
Yep.
Okay. Glenn, are you still there?
Yes, I hear that. 7:10 on.
March 24th.
Thank you, sir, again.
All right,
March
thank you.
24th. 7:10. Thank you.
Okay.
Good day.
Good evening.
Yes. So, thank you, too. Thank you very much. Very good.
The next item on our agenda is Bill Coakley, a notice of intent to repair pavement at 754 Southbridge Street in Auburn. Is there a motion open?
So moved. Tom?
Is there a second?
I second. Julian, I second.
Okay, I'm sorry, who seconded?
This is Tony.
All right.
I second.
Thank you, Tony. Is there any discussion? There being none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All right, it's a vote. Okay, Mr. Coakley, are you there?
No, this is Mike Andre from Graves Engineering on his behalf.
Oh, hello, Mike.
Good evening.
How are you?
Good, nice to see you again.
It's-
Or hear you again, anyway.
It's good to be heard and or seen, so thank you. So tell us what you want to do.
Sure. Is it possible for me to screen share? It might be easier that way. Is that available as an option?
Give us 1 second.
Yeah, sure.
I hope I'm not causing too much trouble.
Well, we'll be the judge of that.
Oh,
Yep.
is it
Right
still
there.
in the bathroom?
Yep, there it is.
There you go. Let me make him a presenter in a moment.
Okay.
Well, we can see you, Mike. That's a start.
All right, here we go. Okay. Great. I assume everyone can see that now?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay, so again, Mike Andre, Graves Engineering, here on behalf of the Auburn Oakley. The property is at 754 Southbridge Street, that outlines here. It's about just under 9 acres, and on the north side of Southbridge Street, on the corner of West Street, and contains the Elks Lodge, their site access driveways from Southbridge Street, parking lot, large field in the back, and also contains 760 Southbridge Street, which is the pools and pews and their associated parking. What they're proposing to do is resurface the parking lot and driveways on the entire parcel. It's been a number of years since that was originally installed, and the pavement is showing signs of failure and is failing in areas. So they wish to repave the entire site, and also at the same time some handicap compliant parking compliance issues. They have spaces that are not currently compliant with regard to grading and access into the building, so we're going to be addressing that at the same time. I will flip to my presentation plan. So we had Ecotech go out and flag resource areas adjacent to the site, and they located a large wetland to the west and also a smaller wetland to the right. Both of those sort of merge around the north part of the property near Dark Brook. And you can see on here the 25-foot and 50-foot buffer zones, and then the 100-foot buffer zones. So much of the project, which is where the building is and the bulk of the parking and the access is outside of the 100-foot buffer zone. But a portion of it down on the West Street Drive and the 760 South Bridge Street area is within the buffer zone, and some of the driveway is actually within the existing 50-foot. So the site right now is a sheet flow situation. There's no drainage on the site. There's no curbing. All the runoff flows generally in three directions off to this wetland to the northeast. The bulk of the site drains off to the north into the field area or into this wetland on the west. And a portion of this site driveway drains down, sheet flows off to the wetland here as well. There is a floodplain on the property. It's hard to see on here, didn't highlight it. I'm going to try and trace it here. It follows down basically in this general area, the corner of the driveway down at West Street. So we have identified that. In general, we're not changing grades throughout the bulk of the project, and we noted specifically to not alter the grades in the floodplain area. The only places you'll see that we're regrading are where the handicap parking is around the building here and around the north side and west side as well. So the plan is to come in and full depth reclaim this pavement. I don't know if you're familiar with that, but
I am.
There's a large. You are okay. So we've chosen that because well, we don't know what the material is, and that process improves the existing base material by grinding the asphalt into it. And it's a quicker process to get in, get the work done, and get out as well. So we're proposing to do that everywhere. Do binder course, new top course, curb replacement around the building where necessary, walkway replacement that's abutting the curb when necessary, and then restriping to a more efficient and compliant with the town's regulations as far as parking space, size, and aisle width, which currently there are areas that are not compliant. So that is, I should point out too, we are, as part of this, removing a small amount of pavement that's shown here in green. It's just unnecessary. It's about 450 square feet. We're removing that and restoring that to will be lawn, because this is all lawn in this area to use for various activities. So that's basically the project. So I'm happy that Commissioner may have.
I have a couple. This was originally paved.
I don't. If I had to guess by looking at the pavement, I'd say it's probably in excess of maybe 15 years or so.
I mean, I'll tell you, I am surprised that there are no drainage structures in that parking lot. That is a large area of impervious material. And I understand, you know, that the isn't through with the of putting in drainage structures. Has any consideration been given to do that?
Well, we did see the comments from DEP about stormwater management, and the thought is to at least propose initially to just replace in kind and see how that was reacted to. In that, you know, the lodge has been closed for some time, and as many businesses have. They're not a nonprofit, but they're an agency that does a lot of work for the community, and their resources are somewhat limited. That said, too, if you've been to the site, this entire area around the building is very flat, all the way out to the pond. The soils, I'm guessing, great. This may have even been wetland that was filled years ago. So I don't know putting any recharge systems are gonna work at all. And there's not a lot of elevation to be able to put drainage and drain it out to the pond. It would all have to go down in this direction where it encroaches already. Well, the site is already within areas within the 50-foot zone. So perhaps there could be some LID things implemented, but I'm not sure we could capture and treat all the runoff from the site just because of the constraints of the site and the resource areas.
Yeah, filling in wetlands is not doesn't really with us, as you can imagine. I think we'd like to take a look. I mean, I've been to that site pretty often. I've actually, back pre-COVID, I went to the for different functions, and I'm sure many of us have done that. But it seems to me, I can also understand why DEP would want to have stormwater management concerns addressed somewhat, if possible, just given the size of the area, the impervious area. So would it be possible for us to do an inspection this weekend? You don't have to go. Again, it's an open area. We're not, I think I would like to see it, just because I haven't been there in a while, and I would like to see the wetland areas. Would you have any objection to continuing this matter to our next meeting on March 24th?
No, not at all. I'm happy to join you on Saturday too.
Okay. How about 9:30 then?
Yeah.
All right. So Mike, we'll see you on Saturday at 9:30. And
Very good.
and we'll continue the public hearing for this to March 24th at 7:30. Is that agreeable to you?
That's fine. Thank you.
All right, thank you. So we'll see you on Saturday at 9:30. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay. Next matter on our agenda, under other business, is 498 Rochdale Street. So there was a hearing in the Worcester District Court on February 12th, and it was, just by way of background, beginning in November, the owners of 498 Rochdale Street started receiving fines from the town for their failure to comply with the order and enforcement order issued, but also a unilateral order that was issued by the DEP. Those fines unpaid, and so there was an enforcement action that was brought by the town's Division of Development Services against Ms. Manfron, not against Mr. Goodman. And so after February 12th, basically, if either Ms. Manfron or Mr. Goodman had reason to object or wanted to object or present a case, they could have, and they did not appear at that meeting, which was held by Zoom. I spoke to Attorney Henniger. Actually, I didn't speak to him. He and I exchanged emails along with Darlene Coyle, and apparently the clerk who heard the meeting on February 12th has not issued an order yet or a decision, but he did say that given the fact that there was no objection to the town's proceeding, that he would find or issue an order. It's my understanding, and in fact, the reason I wanted to address that bring it up to the commission this evening was because once that order is issued, I think we have the option as the Urban Conservation Commission to then send a letter with a copy of that order advising Ms. Manfron that if the fines are not paid by a certain deadline, the next step would be for a criminal complaint to be issued. So Attorney Hannigan also indicated that that's something he can do as town council, but I think we are uniquely situated to do it given the fact that we've been so involved with this property for the last 5 years at least. So again, no order has been issued by the court. I will actually, I'll try to reach out to the clerk and find out what the status is. I'm sure Attorney Hennigan will do the same thing. And so I don't think we have to take action now, tonight, because again, we don't have a copy of the court's decision, but if you would, just keep that in mind when the order or the decision is issued, and we can vote on the course of action to take. Excuse me. The other thing you should also be aware of, give copies of the letter. Apparently, Ecotech on January 11th of 2021, specifically Scott, who has been involved, I think, intermittently with the owners of 498 Rochdale Street, issued a letter to Denise Child, who's the Wetland Section Chief at the DEP, indicating that, I think attempting to indicate or persuade her that, that the property owners have complied with the unilateral administrative order issued by DEP. That letter was sent to Ms. Childs on or about January 11th. When I obtained a copy of it, I then contacted by email Ms. Childs, asked her if anyone had reviewed it, and the answer was they had not. I then contacted Ms. Child again today, asking what their action plan was. My understanding is that they are going to arrange for a site visit of 498 Rochdale Street. No date has been set for that site visit. I think it makes sense that when that site visit is arranged for one or several of us to also attend to see what's been done. I will say to you that based on the pictures that were submitted by Mr. Morrison, I am not persuaded that the unilateral order issued by DEP has been complied with, number one. Secondly, just the timing of this is just strikes me as very, very odd. My understanding is that if any work has been done by the property owner, it was not done under the supervision of a wetland scientist. I think if the property owner resorted to self-help, that doesn't meet the requirement of the order issued by DEP. So I think this is very much an ongoing matter. Again, I think DEP will make in the near future to make a site inspection. They'll review the work that's been done with what they ordered the property owner to do, and we will see what happens. But in the meantime, I think fines are still being levied against the property owners, and so at some point, excuse me, if there is no resolution of this, complaint will issue, and that will have certain consequences. So my hope is that there can be some sort of meeting of the minds or agreement and resolve this matter once and for all. Finally, and a matter that's been continued, or matters that have been continued for the last few months at least, were issues concerning tree cuttings at 23 Boyd Street and 208 South Street. Now that there's no snow on the ground, or not much snow, I think this weekend will be a perfect opportunity for us to go and investigate those complaints. So I just put that out to you. You know, several of you can go and join me and hopefully Tom for the the site walks we're going to conduct this Saturday. And then finally, for the meetings of September 9th, September 23rd, and October 14th. Had the opportunity to review them. So let's take them one at a time if you don't mind. So for the meeting minutes of September 9th of 2020, having reviewed the meeting minutes, I saw nothing that needed to be changed. Do any members of the commission believe any changes should be made to the meeting minutes for September 9th?
This is Tony. I don't think so.
Okay. Okay, if there are no changes, is there a motion to accept the meeting minutes of September 9th, 2020?
So moved.
All right, that's Tom. Is there a second?
I'll second. It's Nathan.
All right, Nathan, thank you. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Patrick, you can't vote. We're a member of the commission.
I'll abstain from the rest of the voting then as well. I don't believe I was at any of the meetings.
I think you're right. Okay. So in that case, pleasant evening.
You as well.
The next meeting minutes are for September 23rd of 2020. Again, having meeting minutes, I have no changes to make.
None.
Okay, Tom has none. Any proposed changes from you gentlemen?
I have none, Mike.
Okay. All right, and
Nope, none for me.
all right, very good. Is there a motion then to accept the meeting minutes of September 23rd?
So moved, Tom?
Is there a second?
I second, this is Tony.
Tony, you can't second because you weren't present.
I'll second, this is Mason.
Thank you. Okay. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 And Tony, you need to abstain because you weren't present.
Right. I
Okay.
apologize, I abstain.
Nice. And then finally, the meeting minutes for October 14th of 2020. Again, I reviewed this, and I gotta tell you, Ginger, you're nailing it. I appreciate it.
I have to give credit to Caleb. Caleb gave me a shortcut, so.
No worries. Okay. Any suggested changes to the meeting minutes for 14th? There being none, is there a motion to accept the meeting minutes of October 14th, 2020?
I make a motion to accept the meetings from October 14th, 2020.
All right, and that's you, Nathan? All right, thank you. Tom?
I abstain, and I don't know if we have a quorum to sign up on these.
You know what? You're right. So, you know what? We're going to have to
Hold on these.
We'll have to continue consideration of the meeting minutes for October 14th until our next meeting. So, is there any new business? There being none, is there a motion to adjourn?
Make a motion to adjourn this public meeting?
All right, that was Tom. Is there a second?
I second, this is Tony.
All right, Tony. Those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All right. All right, it's a vote. Thank you, gentlemen. Thanks, Tom. Thank you, Ginger.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Caleb. And we will see, hopefully see most of you on Saturday. If not, we'll see you on March 24th. Have a good evening. Thank you.
Thanks, everybody, folks.
Okay.
Aye.
Good night.